How's it going? Sorry, I'm still in the process of arranging things. What's up? We've got MP Lafitte, Pink Girl here in the chat. Hi Kitten. Hi Twin Peaks. Hi everybody else. Anyway, today we're doing something different, which is making this like antler crown thing. And this is for my Labyrinth costume, which I'm going to be wearing next week, so I have like 1 week to finish this costume. But luckily this is the only part that I'm really making, and then I'm just going to like probably decorate some of the other stuff that I got. So it should be pretty basic. I'm going to turn my phone sound off so that I'm not getting distracted by notifications that are unrelated to this. But yeah, basically I'm just going to start making a flower crown. I've got like just a ton of stuff that I showed on like Instagram and Twitter. But here it is. I have a big chunk over here of just random flowers and other stuff. I'm going to need to make some kind of like base for this to start building on, and I have some other materials for that. But right now I'm also just kind of planning what I want for this, so we'll see. Poop Dragon, thank you for resubscribing. Saying hear me roar. Also shout out to Skunky and Omar Rice and No Beef 99 who all followed shortly before the stream started. Anyway, I just went and got a bunch of these like flowers and stuff. And I'm gonna start by kind of just disassembling things. This is apparently like a tube that the flowers are just attached on the outside, and the leaves are like barely. Oh, that's really crappy. We've got some other creative endeavors going on today in the chat. Oh, you know what? I bet I could just rip this right off. Because what I'm thinking is that this one, I got two of these big flowers thinking that I would like put them on either side of the head because I kind of like that style. And now I'm wondering if I should rip them off of this thing or try to like curl it up underneath, but I think that I know the answer. Bezalala. Bezalala, is that how it was? Bezalala, I'm so sorry. Thank you so much for subscribing. Appreciate that. Hi Z Chaos Design and MP Lafitte. What kind of photos are you editing? If you want to share, feel free. Let us know what you have going on. Alright, so I have some wire cutters here that I will use to start taking these things apart. Oh, weird. Oh. Interesting. Okay, got them. Alright. There we go. That was actually much easier than I thought. Alright, so this one is now freed. So doing like side flowers and then doing something in between. So I have kind of a plan. I'm also just going to be experimenting with things as I go and kind of seeing what I like and what I'm feeling. But I basically just got a bunch of parts that I'm going to assemble into something that hopefully looks good together at the end. Oops. Oh, hold on, let me move some stuff. I have no mouse room over here. Potion Seller is asking, is this for cosplay or just for fun? So this is for my Labyrinth costume, which is like an original character costume. I'm not really making any of the rest of it. I like bought some things off of Etsy that I thought were pretty nice. It would look good as like some kind of like deer forest creature is kind of what I'm going with. But it's not like an original design in that I designed every piece of the outfit. But I am assembling it and kind of creating a character out of it, so hopefully it'll look okay in the end. Alright, so now that I've decapitated these two big ones, I think they're going to end up being like kind of boop. And then I need to build a base for them to sit on. I've also got all these leaves that are now left over from my large plants that I just ripped apart. So I'm going to hold on to those too. This one's really interesting. I like that it has these pine cones on it. Oh wow, I think these are actual pine cones that are just attached with wire. Oh, they totally are. Alright, so now I know how they did that. I can really just start harvesting all of this stuff if I want to, but I'm going to hold off until I start building up my shapes and have a little bit better idea of what I want. Hi Solaheka, and hi Daughter of Ungoliant. I have never made a flower crown before. I've worn flower crowns made by other people, but I've never made one before now, so I'm kind of excited to just start putting things together. I got, well, this is actually just straight from my closet, my supply closet. I've had this big roll of Foss shape since like 2014 or something like that, and I haven't used it in that entire time. Not a single tiny piece of it. And so I think I'm going to use that to start building my like little crown base. So I can unroll all of it. No, I'm not going to. Okay. So what this stuff is, it's like thermoplastic felt. So it has a felt texture and like a felt, it kind of behaves like felt and it feels like felt, but it is a thermoplastic, which means that it's plastic that can be shaped with heat. Slayer of Demise, thank you for following. I think I missed that notification. Oh, I totally have cut a piece of this off. Okay, I feel a little bit better about that. I'm now completely useless. I have used some of this before. So I'm going to be using fabric scissors on thermoplastic. I know it's crazy, but I think that this is going to be the best way to go about it. And I'm just going to cut a chunk off of this so I can start playing with and experimenting and seeing how that fits. So yeah, let's just dive right in and see what happens. Yes, Lucy is also working on Dragon Con Crunch Time stuff, which is a feeling I know very well. Well, I hope my fabric scissors weren't a bad choice. Let me see how regular scissors go. They could just need to be sharpened too. Okay, regular scissors are fine. Alright, well, that's what I'm going to end up using then. Not using my fabric scissors if it's having that much trouble. On regular felt I would, but not this stuff apparently. Fry me up, I'm awesome, or fry me up is awesome. Thank you for the wrap. I appreciate that. This is probably way more than I need, I'm hoping. But I just don't want to mess with this roll. Alright, now we have plastic felt. Now, for me to have these like mounted kind of on the sides of the head, that means that the base of this crown needs to extend beyond the antlers. Oh look, it's like a little hat. Okay. So I'm just going to kind of create an outline of a shape and then start melting it. I want this to continue for like several inches around each antler so that I have room to mount things like around them. Anawe Dacian, I guess maybe is how you pronounce that. Thank you for following. Let me know if I mispronounce that and I can try to fix it. Yes, it is like a little house on the prairie hat. Hell yeah, antlers. styrofoam ASMR stream. Is that what we're gonna end up doing? Alright, so I just kind of very loosely traced a shape. And let's see, one of them is significantly larger than the other one. It's like two boobs that don't match, which is all boobs. There you go. Alright, I'm going to draw this into more of a shape. So it seems like what I actually need is like a long, or a wide, yeah, I guess a long oval. A long skinny oval is kind of the general shape that I'm going to start with, and then I'll start like shrinking it up. Because that's what's going to happen when I hit it with heat, is that the fibers are going to start contracting and it's going to shrink down a little bit and start becoming hard. And so that's the gist of this, is that it feels like a felt as you're working with it, and you can sew it and you can sew things to it, and then you can hit it with heat and then create a hard form or a semi-hard form depending on how much heat you use. So that's what we're up to right now. Oh, MP Laffy, thank you for your kind comments about my Hobbit tweets. I've been live tweeting my rewatch of the entire Hobbit / Lord of the Rings movie trilogies. Well, I haven't been tweeting the whole thing, but I should have. Alright, so this is now a much more manageable shape. And it looks like I'm not going to have to shrink it very much. I'm going to start experimenting before I hit my project here with any heat. I'm just going to use my heat gun on another piece and see how this goes and how it reacts. So it's starting to curl towards the heat because the fibers on this side are contracting. So then I would go back to the other side and it kind of uncurls itself a little bit. And now this is now like much less flexible. Like if you see, it doesn't want to bend in that this whole section. Now it is still flexible. I did not heat it very much, but it's like noticeably stiffer compared to the rest of this. So it looks like there is kind of some playroom that I'm going to have. It goes kind of slowly, so I don't need to worry about like instantly ruining it. I should be okay. All right, now. Yes, Fiercione and who's asking, and Twin Peaks who's answering. Yes, it is for a Labyrinth costume. I guess I really didn't explain what that means very well. I'm going to a costume ball here in LA that is 1 week from today, and well, it's 1 week from this weekend. And the entire costume ball is Labyrinth themed, so while it's like based on the movie, or based on the mythology, I guess, and the lore of that kind of movie and that kind of environment. So while it's all themed based on that, it's not actually a direct character from that show. I'm not trying to like make a costume that matches a design that's seen anywhere in the movie, which is what I usually do with cosplays. Instead of doing that, I'm just making an original design kind of thing. My own character, and that's kind of what the gist of the ball is some people are there in costumes that are reflective of the movie or other fantasy movies or worlds, but for a lot of people it's just making original stuff. Okay, so I've kind of traced the position of where these antlers are going to be, or where they're going to sit, because I want this to be on top. I think I'm going to cut into them from the back. Alright, I'll explain what the things I'm saying means gradually as we go. So I now have marks for where my antlers are going to be. I drew one line. I'm going to copy that onto the other side too. That's where I'm going to attack from when I start cutting this line. Okay, so now I'm just going to cut holes. Antler holes. So the reason why I made my slits in the back instead of in like the very side where it would be the smallest distance to the edge is so that I can kind of create a seam that's more hidden in the back. Alright, so now antler crown goes back on. Oh yeah, I guess I should talk a little bit about where I started with this. This is just something I bought on Etsy. It just came on the headband like this. And these are 3D printed horns, or not horns, antlers. So they're not real. They're just imitation. They're made out of plastic and they're super lightweight because they were 3D printed. And they're pretty cool, except I was really disappointed that the person who sold them did not do any kind of finishing on them. So like it has all of the visible ridges from the 3D printing process, which if I were making a prop and selling it, I would absolutely do, no question of it. But not everybody has that same standard, and I didn't ask, and I just bought it without, it doesn't really, the listing didn't have clear photos. So it's like, it is what it is. I have to come to terms with the fact that not everyone who sells things on Etsy has the same standards of production that I do, but that's just the nature of it. So I chose to get these because I didn't have a lot of time and now I have to live with it. But I was pretty disappointed with that. I did add a little bit of gold to the tips of the antlers, and I don't even know if you can really see it on this stream, but these are like the natural painted antlers, and then I just like hit the tips with gold so that there would be a little bit more flair. But anyway, now I'm going to slip this guy on. Oh, there's not as much space now. Yeah. I should have accounted for the thickness of that headband and that these need to be farther apart. Let me see if I can stretch this out. Oh, hi Jared. Thanks for coming to my stream. Oh my gosh. Now I see you leaving comments like that. Oh, Jared, why are you flattering me so much? Yeah, I mean, I think that 90% of the people who, well, 99% of the people who look at these would not see them and think, oh, they didn't finish that 3D print. It's more of something that I think other crafters notice and care about, but I care. Alright, now, I need some more substantial pen. No, so I'm not gonna actually wear a wig at all with this costume because I don't have to. It's an original character, so they can have my hair, and that's totally fun and fine. That reminds me that I might want to make a hair appointment if I can. We'll see how that goes. It might be too late for that already. So this is what I was talking about with making a seam where it kind of like overlaps, and I feel like my camera might be too blown out for you to totally see and appreciate all of the details in the solid white, but whatever. So that did actually quite a bit of shaping already for us just to make things line up better and like fit over the head. But I am going to hit it with heat, and before I do that I'm going to hand stitch these areas that I just pinned. So That'll be secure. I'm just gonna take that off for right now so I have a little bit of workspace right here. Yes, Jared is top tier husband though. Well, thank you very much, guys. So you know how I made those hair wefts out of my real hair? I was thinking about trying to incorporate that into this somehow too, like if I wanted to curl it around like the antlers to where it's hiding the seam. But I might just have so many flowers there that it won't matter. So I'm not committed to doing that until I know that it's not a waste of my hair. Anyway. Hi Des, welcome to the chat today. We're making an antler flower crown, which I realize that at the moment you cannot see or appreciate, but it's gonna be good, I think. Alright, so it doesn't really matter what thread color I use for this. I'm just grabbing something that's on my pincushion that's like already threaded, which is what I do anytime I have like leftover thread. I just hold on to it and then use it for stuff like this. Oh, hey there, Steve. How are you? How's it going? Cool. I need to get more into the habit of like looking into the camera and not just looking at my screen, because that's something that I fail to do a lot of the time. So sorry guys, I'm gonna try. Are the antlers boneless? Yes, they are boneless. They are plastic antlers. Please don't spam the chat. If you want to talk about anything that's a conversation, you're more than welcome to. Fry 'em up is awesome. That's what your screen name says. But please don't just spam stuff over and over again, because I'll block you eventually if you're bothering me. Anyone is welcome to have like side conversations, but let's keep it to actual conversations of whatever kind. Okay. So now I'm just gonna like quickly stitch this together. I don't know if you can fuse this stuff to itself or not, but I know you can stitch through it. Oops, what are we doing? Oh, dihydrogen, oh, you're fine. I was not referring to you. And Twin Peaks, thank you for the compliment on my shirt. This is my God Save the Queen Fashions shirt. So I'm repping God Save the Queen Fashions from Atlanta, Georgia. That's where I did my internship a couple years ago when I was in college. Was with Kathy in Atlanta, and that's where I'm gonna be next week. No, when is it? Yeah, it's like next week. Right after Labyrinth, almost immediately after that, I'm traveling to Atlanta for Dragon Con. It's Dragon Con season, and so that's what everybody's working on right now. I guess I can put this higher up and let you guys see what I'm stitching. I'm just trying to go really quickly on this. So I'm only going to be in Atlanta a few days early before Dragon Con. In the past I've been for like up to a week early, and I don't have time for that this year, so we're just doing a couple of days. But it should be a good opportunity to finish my stuff up out there, make sure everything is ready to go, ready to be worn for Dragon Con. I'm pretty excited. So I do have that one costume that's new that I've been working on. The bodysuit that I posted about. And I was making everybody guess, but since this is my Twitch stream where I just give away all of the answers, I'll tell you guys what I'm working on. Unless anybody here does have guesses that they want to share first. I love Baker's Cookie. Potion Seller is asking, are my eyebrows still growing back from being a squid? Yes, they are, but they're mostly grown back now. It doesn't, well, you can't really tell one way or the other because my eyebrows have always been invisible. But they are mostly back, and I'm really happy about it. What kind of style is the whole headdress going to be? Well, it's an antler covered in flowers, so, you know, woodlands, earthy kind of vibe. I don't want to hit that with too much heat, I'm afraid. I'm like running out of threads that are long enough. Okay, I'll just use this one. What am I going to wear to Dragon Con, as Daughter of Ungoliant is asking. I'm going to wear... Oh yeah, people have the guesses on my new outfit. Potion Seller says Julia. Twin Peaks says Bayonetta, or is it going to be Bayonetta? But yeah, a lot of people on my Instagram were like, it's gotta be Bayonetta. And it's not Bayonetta. Potion Seller is correct. It is Julia from Cowboy Bebop, which I'm very excited about. A couple of my friends have already done Cowboy Bebop costumes for MomoCon, and I'm going to be rooming with them, so I will have at least a Spike and Faye in my party, and we can all go and hang out. So I'm really looking forward to being a part of that group. I haven't been a part of a cosplay group in a while, and it's always the most fun part of cosplay is to just like run around in costumes with your friends. So that's what I'm working on, and I'm really happy that I'm working on that. Lucy, I'm not going to go to work for God Save the Queen this year. I just don't have time for that. I am going to be there starting on Monday before Dragon Con, but it's going to be like non-stop doing my own stuff for the most part. So yeah, Cowboy Bebop is going down. Oh yeah, back to my original question. Sorry, I'm so scatterbrained. Cowboy Bebop is happening for sure. So I've got Julia on my schedule. I have Zelda for sure is going. I've got a group for that too. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm so excited to share that as well. I've got other not Lord of the Rings. That too. I've got other Legend of Zelda cosplayers who are going to be with me. And then also, on topic of Lord of the Rings, I'm also going to be cosplaying as Toriel from The Hobbit, which is, I guess I don't know really how much I can talk about that, or I guess I can talk about it, because I know that Kathy's already posted about it. But basically, Kathy of God Save the Queen is making a Toriel costume that I'm going to be modeling on behalf of Sublime Lightworks, is the name of the photographer who conceptualizes outfits, kind of organizes everything, and does private studio shoots for the most part, and then takes them to conventions. So basically I'm going to be modeling as Toriel rather than creating a Toriel costume for myself. So that's been part of why I'm on such a big Lord of the Rings kick right now, is because I've been watching all of the Hobbit movies and then now all of the Lord of the Rings movies. Although I'm still on Two Towers, but I have seen them all before. So, yeah, that's all I think that's my whole Dragon Con lineup. Oh, unless I'm a squid. I might also be a squid. I don't know. I might be a squid, though. Do we get group photos? Of course, there's definitely going to be group photos of all of the above groups. So I'm done hand stitching this stuff, and I can go back to doing something that's at least somewhat more interesting to look at. But here is now this guy, which I guess I could like hot glue it down along the top of that if I wanted to, which I will. I need to let my hot glue gun get heated up again though. No, I don't think hot glue is going to work on Foss shape because it'll just react to the heat. I don't know. We'll see how this goes. If I feel like I need to reinforce it with something, then I certainly will. Poop Dragon said that a lot of people didn't like the Hobbit movie. Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of the movies either. I did like Toriel as a character. I thought she was interesting, and it was cool to see her in action and stuff. But it wasn't like high quality storytelling. I'll just put it that way. But hey, cosplay doesn't always have to be about that. It can be about all kinds of things, and mostly about having fun and wearing cool things, and that's what I like to do. Okay. So this is actually already taking form pretty well. I'm going to try to curl in the back, like the underneath side and the back a little bit more, and then I need to just make it sturdier by hitting it with heat. And it's going to contract up a little bit more, but I think it's going to be okay. I'm a little concerned that these antler holes are too small. Well, they are too small, like the hole that I cut is too far apart, and so it's being like pulled apart. But I'm just gonna mess with that when I get to it. I'm just experimenting a lot today, so you guys get to see all of my trial and error and like my mess ups. Hopefully not too bad mess ups. Dr. Kentress says they like the first Hobbit and very lukewarm about the other two. That's how I felt too. I saw the first one in theaters and I was like, okay, you know, I can see how they took some liberties, but this was fun and, you know, it was pretty good. And then I saw the other two. I didn't see those in theaters. In fact, I didn't see them until recently when I sat and did all of this, so I'd be up to date on my Hobbit lore. There we go. Dizzy Deuce, thanks for following. Anyway, I was disappointed when I watched the other two and was like, oh, well, the seams are really starting to show here, but they're okay. Tiny Bears hungover, oh no. Well, I hope that you can recover your strength here in our chat today. I don't know if this is going to work or not. But I guess that's all part of the fun of it, right? So I'm just going to start hitting the interior with heat, and you can see it shrinking up. I don't know if it's obvious on camera or not. It's probably not obvious, but I can see the little fibers curling up and kind of contracting in. The Blue Reason, thank you for following. And also Ace S. Zylar, thank you for following. Yeah, The Hobbit should have just been one movie. It would have been a lot better that way. Anyway, it's certainly far from a flawless film, but it was fun and enjoyable for the most part. At least the first one was, for sure. Okay. So I'm going to start by putting a little bit of this hot glue up here. In an attempt to keep the Foss shape from peeling away from these antlers as much as possible. Beard Plays Games, thanks for following. I am invested right now in trying to make a little form for the rest of my flowers to sit on. Am I Team Flight or Team Invisibility? I think I have to be Team Invisibility because I just watched the Hobbit films and I've seen a lot of people succeed with this invisibility skill. I feel like it has a lot of applications. People have been very successful with it, so for that reason I would choose invisibility. I'm gonna cut off some of this extra. Mundane Magpie, have fun. Well, I don't know about fun. I hope we can inspire you to finish working on those that hem. All right. So now I'm just kind of shaping it a little bit more. And we're just gonna keep shaping as we go. I look cute with antler. Thank you. All right. So yeah, I think this is gonna do okay. All right, now I'm gonna start just hitting it with heat. I'm gonna keep it on low. I don't want to, because all of this is plastic. So if I put too much heat in here, I'm gonna end up melting my headband and creating more problems, and I don't want that. You can see it curling in a little bit over here. Just take a moment to keep shaping. I guess I can just keep putting it back on my head because that's really what the shape that I'm trying to get it to. Hello, Whalefax, welcome. Yeah, Foss shape is pretty cool. I wish I could just put this on a head form and then just heat it up on the form, but I left my head cast at Holly's house. I need to go back over there and get it, but I haven't done that yet, so until I do that, I do not have a head cast to work on. So I'm heating it all from the inside first because that's where I want it to shrink from. If I heated it from the outside first, then I would end up with yeah, I just need to keep putting it back on my head to like help it to find that shape. If I heated it from the outside first, then this would curl upward because it's shrinking on the top. So that's why I'm shrinking it from the inside so that it creates that form where it's just resting over my head. This is actually working really well. I was thinking originally that I might trim this down, and I still might. I can cut this Foss shape pretty easily. But first I want to get everything to be the right shape. So Mew Mizu is asking if we can tell them about this project. So yeah, this is actually the first stream I've done on this project. I don't know if I'm going to stream any more of this, but I'm at least streaming this part. And what I'm doing right now is making an antler crown for an original design. This is not based on any one particular reference image, which is why I don't have anything on display there today. But it is basically just me messing around and making an antler crown for the heck of it. And this is kind of fun so far. So I'm going to type this in. It's Foss shape is the name of the material for aerial reavers who just asked. I believe that's spelled correctly, and that is made by the same people who make Wonderflex. So that's where this comes from. This is the other main material, or I don't know, we might have other stuff too. This is one of the materials that that Wonderflex makes. Twin Peaks is asking, is the ball like a traditional one with actual ball gowns? Yes and no. They do have their dress code is formal with masks, or you can come wearing some kind of fantasy costume. So not every single costume there is like a super fancy, necessarily like formal by traditional standards, but that it's something that is still formal in a fantasy kind of way. Or maybe, I guess not everybody. Some people are wearing like barbarian costumes and stuff, but for the most part, I would say it's primarily formal. And then you get all this like fantasy flair of other kinds of things that are non-traditional but are still like fancy and cool. So last year I went to this ball and I wore like this gown with golden armor that was all made out of leather that I made for myself. I just keep putting this back on my head so that my head can work as a form. Because I'm only heating it a little bit at a time, so it's still flexible and it still can be like worked with. It's not hot enough to like hurt at all. It's just very warm. Or it's slightly warm anyway on my head. Yeah, this is actually working really well. Okay, now that the inside is mostly crispy, and you can see that it still has flexibility to it, but it's not like felty in the same way that it was before. It's kind of starting to become more rigid. Now that it has form on the inside, I'm going to start hitting the outside, just to shrink up the fibers and make it a little bit more stiff. And a little bit better surface to attach other things to. Mew Mizu, yeah, so this one, I guess I wouldn't call it a cosplay in the same sense that my other costumes are cosplays, but, I mean, it's kind of similar to the cosplay category, and look at how stiff that is now. It's like, I can move it with my hands, it's not like brittle and breaking, it has some flexibility to it, but it's not nearly like it was when we started. Okay, so I'm just going to continue shrinking up the fibers. Now, you don't want to apply too much heat to floss shape pretty much ever, because you can straight up burn holes through this stuff if you put too much continuous heat on. It kind of has, and see that lip curled outward. It has like this weird cotton candy kind of consistency to it. Lucy's heading out. Well, thank you for stopping by, and have a nice dinner, and good luck with your sewing when you get back to it. Kind of like Strix with Holly is what Fierce Yoni's asking. Yeah, and that Strix is her original character and not based on another design that was from another series. It's kind of like that, in that it's just like my original costume and not specifically a cosplay of someone else's design. So if you want to see more about Labyrinth and what all goes on at Labyrinth and what it's like to be there, I actually made a video about that from last year's ball, because I went last year, and it was awesome. So you can go to my YouTube channel, which is Atelier Heidi, the same as my name on Twitch, and there you can watch my video from last year where I'm just walking around and enjoying everything. I'm going to glue this down on the sides. And kind of showing what goes on there. You can see my costume from last year. You can see my friend Lauren's costume from last year. We had a ton of fun, and it was awesome, and I can't wait to go back. So that's why I'm making this. And you can see my costume from last year, which was golden armor. All this stuff is on my website. I'm just gonna go to my own website for a second. And I'll pull it up when it finally loads. I've been having like weird internet problems, so hopefully the stream is okay quality today. I'm just going to glue this part down so that it doesn't start peeling up on the sides. Okay, here we go. It took me forever, but I found it. So the link that I just posted in there is, in the chat, is the link to my costume that I wore last year that is a complete original design, meaning that I made the outfit, I made the character, I made all of it, just like based on my own ideas. This one is an original character in the same way that it's not based on a specific character with a specific personality and a specific design created by someone else, but it's still I hesitate to call it my original design because I'm wearing a dress that was made by someone else and designed by someone else, and I'm pretty much just accessorizing it and like kind of styling the outfit and putting it together, but I didn't like make it from scratch in the same way that I made that armor, so. Alright, well, sorry if it's lagging. I'm doing my best. My stream is doing its best. Princess of Pastels, thank you for following. As well as Mr. Conway Twitty. I don't think I said your name, and for that I apologize. So let's see how this is sitting. Cool. So this is actually sitting very comfortably, and because I did it on my actual head, it's sitting exactly how I know I want to wear it. So like, if you look at this thing, it's not symmetrical. It's got, the front is totally different from the back, but it's shaped to my head, and so I know that it's going to sit properly and be comfortable against all of it. Almond Cobra, thank you for following. Are we gonna get any tap today? Well, we're not doing leather work for this project, unfortunately. I didn't have time to get involved in anything like that because I've still got all this Dragon Con stuff. Can you believe that I'm crunching right now on a costume that isn't for Dragon Con? Like, that seems blasphemous. So I'm just hitting these edges with heat again because I want to make sure that they are really nice and firm. That's where it'll take the most stress just from being worn and kind of taken on and off, is right around the edges. So I want to make sure that they are firm and functional. Thank you guys for the kind comments on the golden armor costume. What was the inspiration behind the golden armor costume? It was a number of things, but the style that I was really drawn to, I was thinking about the Lannisters from Game of Thrones, who are not my favorite characters, but I really like kind of their aesthetic, and some of the things that Jaime in particular has worn, like his golden, like his just ridiculously like blinged out like battle outfits that other people don't wear. And so that's, I was thinking about that, and also kind of the little shitty breastplate that Cersei wears at one point where she's worried that Stannis is going to attack King's Landing. This is like season 2 or something like that. And she's got this like silly little corset, like armor is what it is. It's like, it looks like it's made out of metal, and it kind of has this shape up between her boobs, and it just covers her middle, and it's just like, okay, Cersei, yeah, good luck with that. Like, if you are ever in a situation where you need that armor, that's not going to be sufficient, but okay. But anyway. Okay, so now this is back on the head, and we're ready to start gluing things down, too. So it doesn't fit the head perfectly anymore, but it does fit my head perfectly, which is what it needs to be. The flowers, I think, are going to be like sculptural. They're going to kind of cover a pretty good section of this. I did have an image reference for a crown that I liked, and I'm not copying it exactly. Sorry, I'm checking all my notifications. I'm just gonna set that aside. I have an image for a crown that inspired me that I would like to kind of get a similar shape, but it's not going to be exactly that. We'll see what I end up with. I have some long pins over here. Crystal Owl, these are not real antlers. These are 3D printed plastic antlers. Am I going to cover all the floss shape with flowers? Yes, it's going to be completely hidden. And I might cover some of it with fake hair, or I might still try to cut away parts of it. But I wanted to start with at least a little bit more than I knew I would need. Okay. I'm not ready to pin these on yet. I'm still like looking at shapes and designs and seeing what like my general shape is going to be like. So I guess I can spend more time going through all my crap over here and deciding where things are going to be. I'm going to start with these big old ones that are now stuck together. Uh, 4 and 20 blackbirds. This is for a costume that is kind of, it's not a cosplay, but it's just based on my own ideas. So I need to cut off a really good chunk of this, but I wanted to have some parts that were draping down, and I'm going to need to just manipulate this whole thing. So I'm going to start by just getting rid of this huge long stem that is in my way. There we go. Now that one's gone. I'll save a little leaf, because these are kind of nice. Okay. But to basically have like some dramatic like tendrils that are going down the sides that kind of mirror the shape of the crown, but that are hanging along the side of my head. So that's an idea that I want to play with. To do that, I'm going to cut this like here. Jolly Moggy said that their hair goals was to get it as long as mine, but then I cut it all off. Well, thank you very much. Saying that they like my hair now too. That's good. But yeah, I don't miss my long hair at all. It was fine, you know, like I like long hair in general, but I got tired of it. I no longer wanted to have it on my head. And I've been really happy with my decision. I've been loving it for the most part. Okay. So I can trim some of these off because I don't want them all like on the front of the crown either. But at least these like weird tendrils. I don't know, I don't want to make it like insanely big though. We'll see how big this gets. It's gonna get a little bit out of control, I think. And then I also have these fun ones. So I picked things that were mostly like soft colors or like greenery or like really like less flowery and more like foliage, I guess, if that makes sense. Oh, shout out to Glittery Garbage. Thank you very much for following. Also, Almond Cobra, thank you for following. So, yeah, I didn't want something that was really like typical looking, I guess, for flower crowns. Not that those aren't beautiful, because they are, but I just wanted something that was a little bit different and that didn't look the same as everything else. So I'm just going to start like disassembling things. I'm just going to start cutting these pine cones free. I don't know why they're like, yes, pine cones and cotton are on the same plant. But that's okay. These are so neat. They look like weird chips. Anyway, I kind of just want it to look like a weird pile of like thorns and foliage on my head and not like the obvious beautiful flowers. And then I got these little gold ones too because I wanted to have some gold accents. These are the only ones that aren't like obviously more natural looking because they are just straight up like painted gold. And for these just need to get cut off there, guys. All these long stems are just stressing me out. I need to just cut everything off of this stem. Just throw them away. This doesn't need wire cutters too. This is kind of satisfying. Alright, this is what I don't need. That makes everything hard to deal with. And now I just have a little small sprigs that I can turn into something, I hope. Okay, let me check in on everything. Do I store a lot of random stuff that I might use for a costume that I usually just buy anything I'll need? I don't even craft anything, but I have to keep myself from getting stuff I won't use. Mizu is asking that. I do that too. I have the exact same problem where it's like I hoard everything and I'll buy things that I don't always need. I do have like a stash of things. Yes, I do have a stash that I go to pretty much whenever I know I want to make something new. I'll go to my stash first. I'm going to keep cutting these guys. So, these things I did all have to buy for this project. It took me a long time to make that decision because I tried to avoid buying a lot of unnecessary things when I can. Because that happens a lot, and then you have a whole craft room full of stuff that is left over from previous work. Which is useful, but not always. So I really liked these leaves because I think they were one of the more realistic looking ones. And just that they have like a really nice texture. And they don't remind, like they have like a softness to them. And they don't feel or look like the same kind of garbagey flowers that you see everywhere. Cheap garbagey flowers. Hey Nuptup, how's it going? I'm just kind of starting to experiment here. Oh, the other thing that I wanted to incorporate into this was perhaps some pearls, because that's something I'm going to use in the rest of the outfit. Thank you, Mizu. I really like the soft colors I'm working with too. Actually, I'm going to bring my dress back over here. I kind of showed this off on the last stream, or one of my recent streams, but here is the dress that I'm going to be wearing with this. So I did not make this dress, and that's why I hesitate to call this costume my original design, because I'm making an accessory that goes with this, rather than making everything for myself. So it's my character, and it's my, I don't know what you would call this, like a dryad? It's like a forest being, a magical forest being. And I liked the idea of having the antler imagery because the textures on the dress reminded me of a deer. Even though it's not like an obvious pattern, it's not something that's like very specific, but the colors and the texture and the pattern just reminded me of, I just thought it was very deer-like. So I thought about trying to incorporate these, but they might just be too big. They're very big. I don't want them to completely overpower everything else, to have these huge balls on my forehead. Yeah, that's too much. But something kind of like that. I don't know exactly what I want yet. But I have a lot of like strands of fake pearls that are left over from other costumes and stuff. I don't want to just have it like boop, but some sort of, I don't know, drapery maybe with like strands that are hung. I think that'd be kind of cool. X Gaming Weasels, thanks for following. Probably a dryad, they say, or a nymph. You guys can help me come up with some character details, because that's the part that I always suck at the most in creating any kind of original designs, is that I have a hard time coming up with like concepts like for that character's personality and origin and things. I just like the aesthetics of things. And so when people are like, oh, what kind of character is that? Or like, I don't know, asking me about my D&D character and stuff, and I'm just like, I don't know, I just do things. And I should probably change that. I'm gonna stab myself in the eye with one of these antlers. Who wants to take bets on that? Hi, I speak Pew. And there are gonna be so many costumes today, drawing on me or our stream for inspiration and motivation. That's exciting. I wish you the best of luck. If you want to share your progress at any time, feel free. I wonder if I can disassemble this without just ruining the shape of the flower. These might actually be too huge to be on the side of my head. Better overpower them with something even bigger. So right now I'm still in a stage where I'm just kind of moving things around and seeing how I feel about them. Paulton is live. Thank you for following. The antlers look like creepy hands. I guess so. Nuptup, thanks for dropping by and have a good rest of your day. Closeted acorn addiction. Oh, that reminds me, I do have some acorns. Where's my acorn bag? Where's my bag of acorns? I had another, like, section of supplies that I forgot about. I got all this stuff at Joann's yesterday. Sorry for running off like that. I got a bunch of stuff at Joann. This stuff is really cool. This is like moss that just comes, and you can make like D&D like little environments and stuff for your characters, and they use a lot of this stuff to do like miniature grasses and things like that. Here we go. Other sewing stuff. These are the other things for my crown. Deal with all of that later. I got some plain felt that was in a like sandstone colors, I think what they call this. I wanted to make like a collar and then cover it with pearls and have that I just wanted something that would kind of go with my dress in colors that I could use this as a base. So that's what that is for. I'm not going to leave that there, that's ugly. Of course I have a bag of acorns, yes. Alright, so this is my acorn wreath. I'm actually just going to disassemble this and use all the pieces. I don't want a wreath. But I thought that it was nice that it came in a little circle, and all of these are wired that I can kind of manipulate them however I want. So yeah, we're definitely going to have some acorns up in here. But it's basically just a little wire wreath. I'm about to make a cut. Oh, well I guess that's where that seam was. That's okay, it's not a problem. Metalwork Pegasus, thank you for following. So now, these are just like little strands of, I don't know, they're kind of like beads, but they're supposed to look like little buds or something. So each one of these independently can be manipulated, or I could just leave them together as a couple sprigs together. But anyway, this has the acorns on it, and I was happy about that. So for this, I really just need to experiment for a while and see what I like and what I don't like. But I have opportunities here. I'm not gonna mess with these at the moment. But yeah, I have lots of acorns, I have lots of leaves, I have lots of other things, and they all just need to get glued into something that looks good together, I guess. Micro Stream, thank you for following. Acorn hype! Yes, raise your hand if you love acorns for one reason or another. It doesn't have to be a logical reason, just love them. Okay, so I was investigating how I might be able to incorporate all of this together, and I think that this is just still too much right here. What if I cut it down to there? I wonder if I can still stitch through the foss shape. I think I can. It kind of depends, but I think it's potential. So I'm going to cut off a lot of these buds. There's just too many here, and I can always, you know, place them individually if I want to add more. So to have it mostly like nestled kind of in on itself. So this is putting it pretty far down. And the way that it's draped, I think that having both of these together could be really nice. To kind of have these leaves supporting as well. Do another one. So I'm only kind of doing one side right now, so I have the opportunity to experiment and see what I'm into, and then I'll make the other side match. But right now, nothing is going on permanently. It's just kind of seeing what I like. But there's an idea. I'm also thinking now whether I need to cover the foss shape first or like paint it even. I don't know how that would go, just so that the white is not visible through anything, and then when it sits on my head, it's straight up pin into that head. I'm gonna hold this stuff up for a second. I took the pins out so I can see it on my head. Yeah, I really like these flowers, but I think they're just like actually too big. Like I was like, oh, I'll get a really big dramatic flower for the side of the head, but it's actually too big. It totally covers too much of my face. And I don't want that to be so totally overpowering of the rest of the thing that it overshadows everything. You know what? I might not have to get different flowers though. I might be able to just cut them down, which would be really nice. Macho Man Candy, thank you for following. Sorry, I missed saying that. Painted my hair color. Yeah, I thought about that. But again, because of this, like the material that it is and the fact that it's foss shaped. Oh, again, I can't just totally disassemble this. Well, this is totally easy. Alright, well this is how I'm gonna make my flower smaller, is that I'm just peeling off extra leaves. And now, I wonder if I could even like... Nah. I could layer something over the floss shape though, even like... So even though it wouldn't necessarily be 100% covered, it would just create a different texture for everything. So like whatever's visible through it is not overpowering. This is quite a bit smaller now, like a lot smaller, but it's also way more open and pretty, I think. Put one of these back on. Alright, I like what we've got going on here. And I'm also just going to investigate to see how I can maybe reassemble this without using that stem in there at all. Let's see. The right mushroom could be an interesting replacement for the flower. I thought about that too. There's such a thing as a bread dress. I've never heard of that. I thought about mushrooms, but I couldn't find any mushrooms at the craft store, which is a deal breaker. I guess I'm just going to cut this off as close to the base as I can. Yeah, that's just like empty plastic at this point. There's not even a wire in there. I'm gonna hit it all with hot glue. We'll see if that does anything. Alright, and where's my other one? But yeah, just to cover the base form of the floss shape with literally anything else that would be, that I would be okay with being visible. So here's the larger flower, and then this is the smaller version I made by removing some of the pieces. And it's not wanting to stay together. I can reassemble that more securely, but this isn't gonna work. And now I'm also looking at the original and thinking like, I did kind of lose some of the, like the multi-layered effect of having everything together is a little bit ruined by removing so many of the leaves. Like I would much rather have a flower that is a smaller circumference that is still like very dense, that has lots of layers of petals, because when you compare like the multi-layered one that's the full version to this one is not significantly smaller, it's just significantly thinner, and I'm not into that. So I take back what I said about using these. I'm not gonna, well, I can't return them, so I'm gonna hold on to them. Whether or not they're gonna make it onto this crown in any way remains yet to be seen, but I'm going to take a quick glance at my fabric stash over here and see if there's something I can use over this floss shape that I don't hate. So give me a moment. I do have something. I have something really nice, actually. Well, this is just strips of it, but this would actually probably work totally. So this is silk that's left over from my Zelda gown. So this is actually really nice fabric. And right now I'm debating whether or not I want to stitch this on or whether I just want to hot glue it down. But I think I might hot glue it. Don't tell on me, you guys. Don't let anyone know that I secretly take these kind of tricks. Shortcuts. How do I feel about tasteful moss / charred wood? I like tasteful moss and charred wood, but I also have shoes to decorate, so I was thinking those would look better on the shoes than they would on the head. Persephone, thank you for following. Also, Top Hatted Time, thank you for following. Yes, that's, I'm assuming that says Persephone. It looks like Persephone to me. But anyway, here's my deer crown, and my hair will be down, which my hair looks like crap because I haven't styled it lately, but I'll fluff it for you guys. I was thinking that I would just do like a curly style, and keep it a little bit wild, and then wear my flower crown with my antlers, and let everything kind of hang down. So yeah, this silk I think is going to be really, really pretty. It'll cover the foss shape, and then I can glue other stuff to it. And my dress is made out of wool and silk, so for that reason it'll go well together. So these are just some strips that are cut on the bias, because this is the remainder. I cut a bunch of silk for the trim along the bottom of Zelda's gown. That's what this was. And these were my bias cut pieces that were too small to reasonably be made into useful bias tape. So because of that, they just got put in my collection of scraps, which I'm very grateful for right now. So because these are smaller pieces, it's not going to be continuous, and I also don't want to do like sewing of darts and things like that. I think I am just going to literally glue it down. But my reasons for doing so is just that it's going to be mostly hidden, and so it doesn't matter. It's the main thing that I want is to just hide the foss shape so that any little glimpses that you see through will just be the silk. But I'm not worried about seams, I'm not worried about finishing the edges, I'm just worried about, like, I will at least wrap it around the bottom of the edge. But I'm not trying to make like a sewn garment that looks nice. So with that in mind, I'm just gonna start cutting into this. So I'm drawing on kind of a crude marking of where this antler is going to sit. I'm going to have to use some kind of trim around the edge, actually, because I did cut it too close to wrap it, but that's okay. So this will be largely a continuous piece, at least in the front where it's going to be really visible. Or not visible. None of it will be visible. I'm stressing myself out by thinking too much about it. Forgive me if I'm missing like chat questions and stuff. I'll look back up in a second. I'm just trying to get everything organized, or in my mind. Just doing mind organization right now. All right, let me check back in. ZKS Design left. Feathers? I'm not as into feathers. Like, I mean, I'm already adding so many textures and things here. does this say? These like lime green, I can't read. Dragon and Galaxy is asking, how are things going? Things are going very well. We're making a crown today, an antler crown. Have you ever messed with liquid latex for makeup? Yes, I have. I'm not an expert by any means, but I have done that. Okay, yeah, I think this is gonna work. I'm just gonna do it in 2 pieces and make sure that they're like overlapped in a somewhat flattering way. And then I'll have to do something special for the edge itself, I guess. Alright, so now I'm just gonna start gluing this silk down. Never thought I'd say that. Daughter of Ungoliant is heading out. Taking your friend to see Hamlet. Oh, that sounds fun. Hope you guys enjoy. Yes, this is a Sonic remix. Let me check the title. Chemix Tricks. And this is from Game Chops and what is it? Prototype Raptor. I was running a poll on Twitter earlier today asking people if they thought I would make a better Arwen or Galadriel for cosplay reasons. Because I've been on my Lord of the Rings kick for the last week or 2. And last I checked, it was literally 50-50 on the results. So if anybody wants to help me out by throwing their opinion into the ring, I would love to hear that. Machine Mayboy, thank you for following. So yes, please help me decide whether I'm going to be Arwen or Galadriel. And don't type your answer in the chat unless you want to just talk about it. You're welcome to do that. But rather than only talking about it, you should also go to Twitter and vote in my poll there. Hi, Magpie. Thank you so much for the tip. Let me check this note. Thank you so much for the $10 tip saying, I gotta go for now. Wanted to say thanks for streaming, and it's always very inspiring to see your creative process makes you want to work on stuff. Thank you so much, Magpie. That's really kind of you, and I'm glad that you stopped by. So thanks for joining us today, and thank you for the tip. Yeah, I thought about a little bird's nest, because I saw some at Joann the other day when I was looking for this stuff, but I did not buy one, so I don't have one right now to add. Lucy Lou, thank you for following. So this is not symmetrical by any means. This is not the way I would approach it if I were trying to like sew something nicely, but that's not what I'm trying to do. I am just trying to get this thing covered and functional. We don't have a lot of time, so I don't have the time to be perfect. I just have to make things that are still good. Cool. Now I can cut off all of this extra. Yeah, it's too bad I got close to the edge there because I could have just folded it over really nicely. But I could always glue a piece of bias tape down around the edge. That's how I want to handle it. Okay, so now we just go along the edge. So the edge is where I need to worry about securing it the most, but I'm also going to make sure that it's secure in the top so that everything is being held down on all sides. Oh yeah? Did you just come in here to talk about how I haven't been paying enough attention to you? Alright, Aries, why don't you come up here? Come here, come say hi. Come say hi to the people. They all want to see you. Come on, you can do it. I'll support you. Alright, I'll pick you up because you're lazy and you're fat and you won't jump. Here's Aries. Aries came to say hello. He was very upset that I wasn't paying enough attention to him. I'll move you. There you go. So you have to sit up and talk to the chat. There he is, cat stream. Alright guys, the crown is over. We're just going to spend the rest of the afternoon petting Aries together. Okay, you can hang out, but you can't steal all my thunder, okay? No, actually I might put you on the other side. No, I need to be here to work. Okay, you can just hang out there and watch what I'm doing, okay? Look, I'm making an antler crown. Do you like it? You proud of your mom for being resourceful? Or you don't care, you just want to get pet. I missed some comments. Persephone is asking if I made the dress. I did not make the dress. I bought that on Etsy from Twigs Immortalized. But I'm kind of making the rest of my outfit to match. Oh, Princess of Pastels. Sorry, Nightbot is not happy about that. Oh, hi there, Evil Ted. Welcome. Yes, it's a cat and craft stream. Alright, well I guess I better get back to work. Sorry, Aries, but thank you for joining us and gracing us all with your presence. You can keep hanging out, even though my event list is blocking your face. I'm gonna move that event list because I know that you guys all feel strongly about Aries and he feels strongly about being here. So now I've got the event list up at the top. Oh my gosh, this cat is gonna be so insistent. Cat and craft stream, that's right. Alright, Aries, you can stay here, but you're gonna have to not distract me. You have to stay on task, we got lots of work to do. Alright, so we've got things laying pretty well around here. And then I'll trim off all of the edges at the end. He just keeps looking up at me. I'm gonna keep getting guilted if I just hang out. He does need all of the love because his cat dad is away. That's right, Jared is still out of town. He'll be back shortly, within the next few days, I hope. I'm gonna slide this over slightly. But until then, he's been very insistent in demanding affection because no one else is around to pet him aside from me, so it has become solely my responsibility. He is a very good boy. Alright, so I'm going to turn this around to enable my Oh, this isn't even fully upright. Sorry guys, I'm gonna talk and do all kinds of different things at once like usual. So this wig stand is not fully upright, and that's why everything's getting twisted around when I move it. Cool. There we go. And I'll glue down the rest of this over here. Are you heading out, Aries? Are you gonna stick around? Ready to go? Or no, you're just gonna sit there making up your mind? Do I miss my good boy? I absolutely do. I miss him so much. Yeah, Aries likes to be on top of things. Just in general, he's always liked to be in high places or like on shelves or on tables or on whatever he can get onto without getting into trouble. And so I think that he's happy to see my craft room from a slightly different perspective today. Alright, you heading out? No, just coming back to me. Just showing your tail off to the chat so that they all know what a beautiful tail you have. Alright. Well, you're on your own, buddy. Got work to do. If you start chomping on my elbow, I'm gonna be really pissed. Oh my gosh, she's literally trying to like climb me. I'm gonna move this again. He's just being, he's just trying to bite my elbow. He's being so insistent right now. Auntie Laffy is heading out. Alright, have a good night, or whatever time it is for you. Have a good rest of your day. How's that for pets? Do you still like them? Oh my gosh. This cat is the biggest distraction, but my favorite distraction. Bye, Aries. Everybody say bye to Aries. I hope you enjoyed his presence. You added nothing. Alright, we've got the first half of this pretty much on. Now I got too close to the edge to do like a really nice edge, but I can still kind of salvage it the rest of the way around, I think. No, I don't want to. I want to make this really easy on myself. And with turning it under, it's going to be a big pain in the ass. Now luckily it's on the bias, so most of these edges aren't going to automatically start fraying. We'll see how this goes. Yeah, I didn't have nearly enough to do any kind of like consistent edge, so I figure that I will end up adding a consistent edge one way or another later, which probably means just gluing something down around that edge, which is totally fine. I have more of this silk if I wanted to do it that way. I had some fray check. Is that still like out? It is. Okay, let me finish cutting first. I guess this section over here can use more glue. Everyone's saying goodbye to Aries. Aries is the kitty of stability. What makes him so stable? Yeah, those scissors need to be sharpened. Probably because I tried to cut floss shape with them. And that didn't work out very well. But that's okay. I can sharpen my scissors. How you doing, El Langosto? Hopefully I said that all correctly. I need to add a little bit more glue to this side. Whew, and I got myself. I knew I was gonna. It's okay. Tech Critter, thanks for following. I'm glad that you guys are enjoying the stream, or at least some of you are, I hope. So I have a little bit too much material over here, just because of the way that it's wrapped on top of this headband in the center. So I think that I'm just going to trim that down, or trim it off. I'll use a little bit of glue on that ridge in the back before I do that. Okay, I'm gonna give that a second to get all set up. Lightning Fast asking, am I cosplaying Mantler, the man with antlers? No, I am cosplaying as some kind of deer dryad. Tech Critter, thank you. Okay, yeah, so that's what the dress is from. The dress is just something that I bought on Etsy. I did not design that myself, but the antlers are going to go with it because I think this is kind of a cool design and the way that they fit together. That silk looks so nice, which is why I picked it out for Zelda, and I'm glad that I have some scraps that I don't mind, you know, just hot gluing to some crap. That's what crafting is sometimes, is just gluing a bunch of crap together. I mean, ideally it's not crap, but sometimes it is. Alright, now I'm going to begin cutting away some of the extra fabric that's like rippling up back here, and then we'll have another piece layered over the edge. Cool. So there's half of it covered now. I can put it on, and the floss shape is gone. It has a really nice, soft, light reflective quality to it that I really like. Oh, Mew Mizu just finished rewatching the Asagao Academy Let's Play on Jared's channel. That was the one that I was a part of. And they say they forgot what a pleasant experience it was. Well, that makes me happy to hear. I'm glad that you did enjoy it. Hi, Luis, welcome. And hi, Adam Bomb. Everybody's showing up now. It's like a revival of the stream. Did Jared just finish streaming or something? Okay, so now I have more fabric over here that is just going to become the other side. And I think I'm gonna give this like a folded edge just because it's actually cooperating very well. And that way it won't have a raw edge that's visible. I don't know if you guys can see this, but basically I'm just gonna fold the piece over where they meet and glue it that way. Because this is cut on the bias and it is silk, it's being extremely cooperative in terms of just allowing me to kind of sculpt it with my fingers. So, I think this is going to be good. Char Cosplay, thank you for following. I'm going to cut away some of the extra material on the inside so that it's not just getting bulky. Shards of Nyx, thanks for following. Sorry guys, I'm engrossed at the moment and making sure everything lays flat, but so far this is looking really nice. In fact, way nicer than it has any right to look. So I think that's a good sign. Okay. Oh, hi there, Loaderbot. The hosts are not one of my notifications that show in the alert box, but thank you for the host. I do appreciate that. Okay. So anyway, we're in the process of covering this like hat base form with silk that I have laying around. This is leftover silk from Zelda. It is getting a new life, a new purpose, and helping me with my antler crown. So I'm just folding this edge over, making sure it looks pretty nice, and then cutting the extra. Ready to keep gluing on this other side. All right. Moving down the last section now. Cool. Well, I'm really glad I had some bias cut silk randomly sitting around. It was the perfect color too, but hey, that's why I'm a craft hoarder. It wouldn't have been possible if I wasn't already being productive on other things, so yeah. So now I'm going to do the same thing for this back edge, and I can just do this over the top, I think. Just kind of squish it flat. So we'll cut the edge flush and then wrap something around it so it'll look nice and clean in case anything ends up showing. And that'll go for the whole way around. All right, let me see if I'm missing any questions over here. All right. The priority tweet from Jared was the other day was hilarious. Well, thank you. Yeah, I've had Lord of the Rings on the brain for a while. Shards of Nyx is asking if I made the antlers on my own. I did not. These were purchased on Etsy, and they have been 3D printed by the people who made them. All right, we're getting to the end of our covering process. All right. Let me just peel off all of the glue flyaways that we have. Glue cobwebs. Alright, here we have it. So here is now, and it's so shiny and pretty. Look at the way that reflects the light. That's why I bought this fabric for Zelda. Anyway, this is Silk Dupioni, and I luckily had quite a bit of extra laying around here. So this is just some bias cut strips that are now mounted onto my Foss shape base. And so this is actually really sturdy, and it's relatively clean looking too. I mean, I do have that raw edge that I need to cover up, but that's definitely a really good base to build on. This is really nice and sturdy on my head too, like, because it has that shape to it and the way it kind of cradles the shape of my head. I need to just stay down here if you guys want to see it. Because of the way that it cradles my head, these are like not wobbly at all anymore. They're like moving with me and they're staying with me. And it's really, really comfortable to sit on my head. So I'm really happy that I have that. Yeah, I would say that real antlers would probably be too heavy. for a simple headband and crown like this, which is one of the reasons why I knew that I wanted fake antlers because antlers are in high demand and I don't want to support that kind of thing. But fake antlers are abundant and easy to come by, and people make them out of all different other materials, and they're lighter. So that's why I wanted to go with this and not try to use real stuff. I do have an antler belt that I can show you guys because it's really rad. That is made out of real antler, and the reason I have it is because my great uncle, I think, it might have been my great great uncle. I need to ask my family, but I think it might have been my grandma's brother, or it was her uncle, or someone in their family that hunted, gutted, ate, and then processed the remainder of this deer, or I don't know exactly what it is. There we go. So yeah, this is my matching purse. It's like a little leaf almost. So this is my antique antler belt, and it's just strips of leather that have been strung through slices of antler. And I forget, it might be an elk, because these are like really wide too, so I think that is an elk, because obviously these aren't to scale, but even if they were larger, they wouldn't be in ovals like this. So I'm pretty sure this was an elk. I could be misremembering that, but I believe that's what I was told when I was younger. And basically this is just like a ton of slices of antler, and this was handmade by the guy who shot the elk, I guess, who was in my family, and so this has been passed down to me, and I ended up with it a while ago. One of the leather cords is broken. I think this is supposed to be connected back up, and it's got like the antler tips there. So the leather in this has been broken down quite a bit over the years, and I'm a little bit afraid that it's just going to snap out, and it already has snapped in some points. It looks like this was tied back up and then still broke again. But I thought about restringing it and like kind of making it new again, but then I thought about making it into something else, and I'm honestly not sure what I want yet, but I thought it would be a really cool like drapey like bandolier thing instead of just a straight up belt. It's the same as what it was before. But anyway, I'm considering adding this to my costume. I'm not sure if I want to yet. I don't want to cover up the look, although that is really cool looking. Now it's in the way of my headdress. What do you guys think? I don't know. I think that could be really neat. Really neat. Or I could just wear it as a belt. It goes around. Or I could put it on my strap. I thought about doing that too, is somehow, like I would have to cut this strap and then feed it through, but that it would become a part of the shoulder strap, because this is super long. It hangs so low, and I'm not going to be able to slide it over my head when I'm wearing the antler crown. But to do something like this where it's attached to the bag, and so then it goes with the bag. But anyway, that's what I have. So these are some of the things I have to work with. And I also have a little bit of fur. This is some type of real fur. This hat was given to me by Jared's mom. I don't remember where she got it or why she had it, but she just wanted to like get rid of it, and she was like, "You can use this for something, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll take it apart and use it as a craft." So I might take a little bit of fur from this and use it on a collar or use it on another accessory piece, but this is a fur hat that it's probably never going to be worn as a hat by me, except for right now on the stream to show you guys what it looks like. But at some point I could, looks like mink or beaver. Yeah, I kind of, you might be right. I don't know exactly what it's made out of. But it's interesting, and this is something else that was passed down from me. I don't buy real fur unless it's like little rabbits or something from Tandy. But everything that Tandy sells is a byproduct of the meat industry, which is the big difference between going out and killing animals on your own for sport or using the leftovers for something that was used, it was consumed by someone. So that's why I buy stuff from Tandy. I get all kinds of leather and things from them. I'll buy furs that have been processed by Tandy because I know that at least it's somewhat more ethical, and it's not just, you know, people hunting for the fur. But anyway, that's usually what I try to stick through. I'm not an expert on any of that stuff, and it ultimately depends on what your source is, individual source is. But the reason I have those antlers is specifically because they were from a member of my own family. I Speak Pew says it could be a mule deer because they're huge. Yeah, I guess so. But it might also be an elk. I think that it is an elk, but I don't know. So maybe I can ask my grandmother. She would know. Do furry pauldrons. I have some other felt pauldrons that are on order, but if they don't arrive in time, then I might do some furry pauldrons. $4.20 Blackboard says, from a historian/museum person perspective, I think attaching the belt to the bag strap is a great idea, because that way you wouldn't have to discard the original leather, but it would be supported by the bag strap, and there would be less risk of it breaking more. That's a good idea. It also just occurred to me that that leather might have been also a part of the elk. I don't know if it was, because leather tanning is a whole process in and of itself, and so it wouldn't surprise me if you just like took the pieces of the antler and then threaded them with some pre-made leather. But it's at least possible, and I bet my grandmother would know if I ask her. No, I'm not even gonna bother with this. I'm just gonna wrap the edge with something. Well, I'm not gonna worry about that right now because I want to start adding flowers to this. And so I need to get to a point where I like what's going on. Oh, I Speak Pew, that's so awesome. I Speak Pew said that I'm actually a taxidermist, so my costume I'm making right now, I'm using a lot of bones and fur that I've cleaned and tanned myself from my rabbits that I raised for meat. That is awesome. That is so cool that you have all of that ability to do all of that and that you're also raising the rabbits yourself. That's so cool. Oh, Dr. Cantras, that's really sad. I'm sorry to hear that your mom sold her coat that way. I really like these little nuts, but I wish that they were a little bit more staggered, so I'm going to end up just stripping them off of this thing. Oh, Miumizu says my wedding ring is pretty. Well, thank you. I will show it off if you want to see it. It's nothing fancy. It's just an emerald. It looks really dark because it's not a cut stone. It's just like a polished round stone. This is what I'm trying to do. And so yeah, it's a dark green emerald. It was grown in a lab somewhere, and it was purchased on Etsy so that I can support independent artists who are making a living by making beautiful things. So that's where it's from. Jared picked it out, but I told him what I wanted, which was something that wasn't from a fancy jewelry store. And I also wanted a ring that looked like a fantasy ring, like a ring out of like a fantasy book is what I wanted. I wanted something that had color to it. I did not want a diamond, so that's what I ended up with. I think it's pretty neat and unique looking. Okay, I managed to unwind all of this without having to just cut it outright. Alright, so now my strands are free, which is going to make them much easier to work with. I also thought about just having some things kind of curled loosely around the antlers, like they've grown up that direction. It's pretty cool, right? I mean, it can be if I add more and stuff. I think it's theoretically a good idea. Yeah, I Speak Pew, that's a really crappy thing to do. I'm sorry that someone stole that heirloom from your family. Yeah, people who are just like anti... It sounds like to me someone saw it and was like, oh, I'm going to teach these people a lesson about having fur or something. But that's like a really shitty attitude to have, because it could have come from any kind of place and it could have been done ethically. And the idea that we are just not allowed to use any animal parts in any kind of crafting is just absurd. I mean, if it exists in the world, then I think that it should be fair game for making things out of. And as long as it's done ethically and not taking advantage of or exploiting like an animal population, then yeah, I have no problem with that. But whatever. It's a complicated issue and I don't have all the answers, and everything varies greatly by what kind of item it is, but anyway, that's a rant that I don't want to go into. Fairy Dust says, I'm going to be creative with you, but I don't know what to do. I feel like maybe doing some kind of craft. Well, make yourself a costume piece. That's what I'm always doing. I'm sorry someone vandalized that vehicle. That's really crappy. I think Pew was telling a story, for context for people who are watching this later, that their mom had a beautiful white rabbit coat that got stolen out of a car and then like destroyed and then abandoned. So that sucks. Miyumizu says, honestly, destroying the fur doesn't help anyone. The animal's already dead anyway, so it just makes the death meaningless. That's kind of how I feel about it too. Like, using leather and fur that's a byproduct from the meat industry, it's like, okay, I can't change the fact that the meat industry exists and that it is going to keep existing. I can just either use the materials that exist now or not, otherwise they go to waste. And so, yeah, it just seems kind of absurd to me to be like, you're not allowed to do this because I think that you shouldn't be able to. But anyway. So now I have other things that I can decorate with. These are all fake pearls, but they're pretty. I don't want them to be like draped over, but I'm thinking about ways that I could at least drape the front, or no, this needs to be coiled around. We'll see about that. Dear Sione, thank you for following. Okay. I also have these little pine cones that I almost forgot about. It seems like too much though. Okay, so these are back to the parts that I actually had kind of started making artistic decisions about. I'm going to cut this one off the back. If it's in the back, it's just in the way. Yeah, I much prefer the look of the head now that the fa shape isn't showing. I think it just looks much better overall. I think that'll be pretty with it kind of twisted around the top a little bit. I can still pin through everything. But not the stem itself. Persephone's kitten won't stop watching the stream. That's wonderful. I love it when we have cat viewers and people send me photos of their cats watching afterwards. Nordy Norris, thank you for following. So I've got this one here, my other super long one. Your kitten knows what's good. Loaderbot, you can get delicious rabbit meat from the rabbit food industry. Yeah, that's fine with me. I also have a little rabbit hide that I thought about putting in this, but it'll depend on what color I want to use. I think the rabbit fur is a little bit lighter than that hat that I showed you guys earlier. Okay, let me make sure these are relatively symmetrical. Or at least generally the same length is what I'm going for. My antler's not totally... Alright, it's more or less even. That's what I'm trying to say. And I'll keep cutting off the strays from the back. Man, this is getting so large you can't even see the bottom anymore. I think we're off to a good start with this shape. This is more what I'm into than what we had before. Okay. So I'm still not gluing anything down yet. I'm just going to be kind of making decisions about everything. I want to make sure this raw edge is totally taken care of before I have anything permanently mounted, but I'm still kind of just trying to make decisions here. So for me, this is usually a long process that involves just, oh, look at how pretty everything looks together. Just kind of moving things around, looking at it, seeing how I feel. But yeah, I think this is pretty good. What do you guys think? I mean, I just like the way that it hangs. Everything looks so nice now under the silk, or on top of the silk. It makes me much happier. The foam man is looking fabulous. Rabbits taste like chicken? I'll have to give it a shot sometime. The flowers look like locks of hair. Yeah, I was kind of going for that look, and I think that what I'm gonna do is, because my hair is short, but it's kind of at an angle. It's like slightly longer in the front. I think that for this event, I'm gonna use really long hair extensions just in the front and have like some long tendrils, because I have human hair extensions that match my hair pretty perfectly. So my plan is to clip them in here and then have like a long tendril that kind of goes down in the front and would maybe be, oh, I just lifted the whole thing off because I forgot this is like pinned on. Can't put it on my head right now. But that it would be entwined down in front of my face. Or at least that would be the goal there. So yeah, I was thinking that it would need some kind of larger feature flowers on the side, but the more that I'm looking at this, the more I just don't want to do that. Like I can build up a lot of other stuff and textures and things that are all a part of it, but oh, this is nice because it has both of the acorns attached. I need to secure that down with some more wire, but I do like the look of it kind of entwined. And then the antlers aren't quite like a standalone feature. They're more incorporated into the rest of this. It kind of depends on how heavy I want to get with that kind of thing, but I think it's cute so far. Yeah, I should try it on with my hair down, but unfortunately I just stuck these pins directly in. So the way that I'm going about this means that I can't try it on as I'm working, because I'm not permanently attaching them. Like if I were gluing everything down, you know, each, okay, this is still hot, like committing to the placement of things and gluing them down as I went, then I would be able to just pick it all up and put it down on my head, but because I'm pinning things on and just experimenting, I can't try it on yet, but I'll get there. So I want to figure out how I can incorporate this cotton because it looks really pretty. I was really drawn to this one because it's so different. Than most of the other things that they had in the flower department. And I was really looking at just the different textures I could get. Oh, that's pretty. Where it's like just like weird little cotton balls as like the feature. I don't know, you guys tell me. I can cut this wire or just tuck it away somewhere, but for the cotton plant to be kind of like just straight up a part of the front, instead of having those like bulky flowers, to have stuff like that, it could be really cool. I also want to take a look at my moss, but I don't want to completely forget about the pearls. I don't know. I'm starting to have second thoughts about how I'm going to accessorize things, because I ordered these, oh well, these are all pearls that were just in my stash. Yeah, like all of this stuff, everything in this whole bag is just pearls that I had, and these as well. These are like the white ones. And none of these are real. These are all like fake plastic things, and well, I think some of them might be something other than plastic. But anyway, they're not actual pearls, but I think they will be cool on this outfit. And then I ordered a bunch of pearl flatback cabochons so that they're like little domes you can glue onto things and the back is flat. And I thought about that too. And I forgot about these little sprigs of gold that could be sprinkled up here. Just to like kind of fill any areas that aren't already Maybe in the back I can just use leaves to kind of like cover up sections that have a lot of wires and things showing. We'll see about that. Alright, I'm going to bust into this moss bag. Whalefax had to get their dog, their dog had to get her stitches taken out. Well, I hope your dog is doing well. Oh, you guys do like the cotton bits? Mew Mizu is saying the cotton bits are really nice. I think they're nice too because they add such a different texture. And that they are kind of flowers in their own sense. But they're not flowers in the way that people typically think of flowers. So to have, even if I just did them on one side, but to have like several little cotton buds, I think with their crispy little weird leaves, could be really, really nice. Like keep it somewhat asymmetrical so it's not just like overpowered with the cotton. This one isn't placed in there very well, but I think you guys know what I'm saying, with like maybe like a cluster of 3 or something like that on one side. I think that I need to go back to the store because I was planning on using those big ones as a centerpiece, and now that I've completely discarded them, I'm just like, I need something else up here, something that gives it volume or scale. But this is too much. At least I think it is. So that's what I was originally thinking I would end up with, but it's just, it's overpowering every other part of the crown to do that. And I'd rather let the elements work together more naturally, I guess. So that's why I'm afraid to glue anything down yet, because I still feel like I want the freedom to kind of change my choices. And it's a large part just because I lost that item that I thought was going to be a featured part of this crown, so now I don't want to... It's like you get to a certain point where you need to start committing to things, and then that narrows your choices, that narrows all other choices that you can make based on, you know, each decision that you make artistically narrows the remaining possibilities. And so because of that, I'm hesitant to start cutting or gluing anything in a really permanent sense. But I really want to experiment with placement and juxtaposition. And yeah, these are just so nice and different and interesting. Of course I can't just make a normal flower crown. Yeah, I agree. Twin Peaks is saying the giant flower doesn't feel like it flows as well with what I currently have, and I totally agree. I was thinking that I would just need something that was bigger, but I still want somewhat more scale and volume to all of this. I don't want... The antlers are relatively small, though, and I don't want to overpower them by just, like, having really huge flowers and the antlers just look tiny compared to everything. I was kind of hoping they would be bigger, but I didn't... I don't know if the listing had specific measurements, but I didn't look at them well enough, I guess. Okay, Whalefax is giving a dog update. She's got weird fur. Okay, well that's good that it's not any kind of like skin condition. And that your dog is okay. Rolling Meister says, Heidi, your hair! Yeah, I cut it a while ago. I made shoes with that kind of moss. Shards of Nyx is saying. Yeah, I forgot about this stuff, and I didn't even start pulling it out. You can put some little moss up here. I want to use the moss to decorate some shoes that are going to go with this costume. Oh, it could be kind of cute if I need to fill any bits. Anyway, so I was thinking if the moss would most likely end up on my shoes to give it kind of cool texture. I got really cool shoes for this. They're like platform heels that are made out of cork. So they have just like huge wedge heels, and I wanted to put some moss on the outside of them. Let's see what else is in here. This is also cool and spongy. I love how it feels. I'm gonna need a different bag to store it in though. Alright, so I'm just going to take it out of this bag and put it in another one. Here's a really cool piece. It feels like a sponge. Like all of this feels like sponges. It smells so cool and interesting. It's like foresty stuff, but it feels like it came out of the ocean. This is the cool piece that I saw in the bag that drew me to it. But it's just like, it looks very sponge-like and aquatic in the way that these things are grown together and kind of the shape that they have. So I want to break this up a little bit and see if I can attach it to my shoes. This stuff is definitely going to break apart and crumble, so I'm trying not to handle it too much. But I'll end up losing some parts of the costume that shed over the course of the night, and I'm sure that's just how it will be. But I want to do my best to make something that's durable. I guess I can just toss that because I'm not going to try to use a little dust. That's what I'm trying to say. Moss dust. Alright. It is currently 4:12. I guess I didn't start streaming until like 1:45. So I've been streaming for 2.5 hours. That's quite a bit. I'm starting to feel a little bit hungry and wondering if I need to stop to go and feed myself, but I don't want to lose progress here. So I'm going to do a little bit more. I probably won't last past 5 though, because I need to eat more food. The styrofoam head looks unimpressed from that angle. Alright, I speak Pew. Good luck cutting out your cape. Alright. So I might end up stringing some of these, because I think I need something in the front to be some kind of feature. I wanted to have something that was draped over the forehead. And I experimented with hanging these and seeing what I like. Just to have like this kind of shape in the front, and potentially like several tiers of these beads. But I would have to string them myself or restring them to get them to be a shorter length. So like ignoring the fact that this one has a clasp in the middle of it, because it's just straight up a necklace. This one has gold and pearl beads. Something that would be hanging like that, I think could be really nice. Oh, what if that was asymmetrical too? No, it'll just look like a weird eye patch. Okay. And I can always put more flowers and stuff on top. Yeah, I just feel like I need to really figure out a feature, because my initial design or idea for this was that there would be something large on the sides from which everything else is hanging. And I agree with you guys that this flower is not the best part of this crown and everything that's going on right now, but I do still feel like I need something large to anchor attention kind of in that area and draw the eye to that area and create a base for everything else to be on. So I'm going to tentatively pin this back on and look at it again. And I know we all just talked about how much we don't like these flowers, and I totally agree with that, but I've already used up my pins. I also am just trying to visualize what it can look like. Maybe I just needed to put it on top of everything else and kind of let it curl in on itself more and not have it be as flat, because I actually don't hate it anymore. To still build up things on the top with the cotton, maybe. I don't know. Maybe have a slightly smaller flower. Yeah, that's what I was thinking originally when I was like, I don't want to use those. Twin Peaks is saying that they love the subtle earth tones and that flower crowns are often super vibrant and overpowering or overwhelming. Yeah, I kind of felt the same way, in that I definitely wanted something that felt like it was a forest creation and not just like, oh, how many flowers can we throw on this? Because I think flowers are they can be really nice, but they're also, a lot of them are just boring looking. And I didn't want that. I wanted something that was different. So this is my attempt to make something different that still fits within the same theme. So yeah, I'm not ready to totally discard that flower yet, but I do think I need to go back to the store and maybe try a different store and see what else I can find. Now I'm piling everything up on one side, but I will have it be balanced. Maybe not identical, but I'll have the same elements on both sides that are kind of incorporated in different ways. Yeah, I also love the earth tones. I speak Pew, I'm glad that you have a weird modified superhero style cape. That sounds fun to work with. Anyway, I might be at kind of an impasse right now because I don't want to commit to the ideas that I've talked about just until I find another centerpiece or something else that I'm going to work with, because I'm not 100% happy with what we have here, but I'm not happy without it either. And I do think it does need something there to be the center of attention. So I just want to make sure that gets done properly. So I don't know, what do you guys think? I feel like I made a ton of decisions in this stream. I made my cap, which was important, and then I covered it, which is also important. And look at how nice and shiny it is, and I have to cover all that silk, which is a little sad. But anyway, I do need to keep working on what am I going to add to the center front and what am I going to add to the center sides. Everything else, as far as just like gluing these leaves down and gluing other things down, I think that will be very easy to deal with. As far as like filling in the rest of the space is going to be a cinch because I just have so much here to choose from. But until I know exactly what I want front and center, I'm hesitant to commit to anything. And so I think that I'm probably kind of at an impasse for today. I do want to go out to the store, so depending on what else I have to get done tonight, maybe I can do that tonight, maybe I can do another stream tomorrow, I don't know. But I think this will be a pretty simple process of gluing it all down once I'm ready to commit to that decision. So, with all of that said, I might just go ahead and end the stream now because I'm looking around at everything and I'm just like, I don't know what to do next. I need to think about this and not make my decisions too quickly because then I'll be unhappy with the results. But I'm pretty happy with it so far. Well, thank you, Kitten. Thank you, Dr. Cantrez. Yeah, I do have to keep in mind with how it will look with the rest of the outfit. So I'm trying to visualize like way too many things at one time. And so I'm narrowing down my focus and deciding like what elements I'm like the most happy or most interested in, and which things need to be replaced or modified. And I think it's going to come down to making sure that I'm happy with this center flower. So, oh, Malachite stopping in to say hi. Well, It's gonna be, I think I'm just about the end of my stream, but I made a lot of decisions today, and I made some artistic choices that led us here. And I haven't glued any of this stuff down yet because I'm still thinking about it and thinking about what changes I might make to it. But I think I'm gonna run out to the store tonight if I have the energy to do that on a Saturday night. Anyway, that's gonna be it for me for today. Katie Robb. It's Katie Robb. It's totally Katie Robb. Thank you for following. Alright, thank you guys for everyone who came by and hung out with me while I made this. I might just go ahead and make the rest of this on stream tomorrow, depending on how I'm feeling, or otherwise maybe I just will make it in the privacy of my own home, because I like doing that too. But I appreciate you guys coming and hanging out with me and answering my questions while I did all of this. Oh, Jared's streaming too? Okay, well then now you have someone to go and hang out with after I end my stream. Alright, well thanks everybody. Have a great day. If I decide to stream again, I will let you know. But anyway, we made some good progress, so I'm happy with where we went. Alright guys, have a good night. Bye!